Okay, thank you, Jennifer. It is 6:02, and we want to start in a timely manner, so let's get started. Good evening. My name is Latanya Copeland-Berry, and I'm with the Fourth ISD Family Communications Department. I'll be one of your moderators for tonight's meeting. Again, we thank you for joining us tonight to learn about this new and exciting partnership at Jacquet Middle School. This new collaboration will result in extra learning, including tutoring, extended days, and access to more community resources and support for our students. At any time during this presentation, please add your questions to the chat. We will definitely be checking the chat as the meeting goes on, and there will be time at the end for you to answer, to have any questions, and we will be glad to answer those for you at the end.
Hi, and I'm Jennifer Perez. I'm also with the district's Family Communication Department, and I'll also be one of your moderators for this evening. As Latanya mentioned, our panelists are going to be answering your questions after the presentation, and I'd love to begin to introduce them individually. Our host tonight is Trustee for District 3, Quentin Phillips. Fourth ISD Superintendent Dr. Kent Scribner is also with us. Dr. David Saenz, the Chief of Innovation for Fourth ISD, is here. Phelan founder and CEO Earl Martin Phelan is joining us as well. Mr. Phelan will introduce two special guests shortly. Chief of Student and School Support, Dr. Sheree Washington, and Executive Director of Student and School Support over at the Dunbar Pyramid, Ryan Townsend, is also on the panel. Trustee Phillips, would you like to start our conversation this evening?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for that, Jennifer and Latanya. Appreciate y'all for kicking us off. What it do, Wildcat family, Fourth ISD family, is good to be with everyone. As you can see, I have assembled the squad, right? You know, the dream team has come together in order to be able to make sure we have accurate information about what's happening within our school. So, was having some community conversations and everything, and it was some misinformation that was kind of getting out, and it's like, no, we are in the practice of Fourth ISD of trying to make sure we're over communicating. Y'all know I tell you all the time, I want you to be tired of Fort Worth ISD. We need to be in your inbox, in your text messages, in phone calls, everywhere. I want you to be able to know what's happening within the schools. And so this is just another one of those efforts to make sure that we're getting out the latest, most up-to-date, accurate information on exactly what's happening with our partnership with Phelan Leadership Academy. So before we move forward, just simply want to say this, y'all. Many have already known, my story and everything as far as me growing up in the Top 6 area, me attending the Dunbar Pyramid of schools, particularly J. Martin Jacquet Middle School. It was Dunbar Middle when I was able to attend. But, that being my alma mater, along with Paul Lawrence Dunbar High School being my alma mater. And, so much of running for the board in the first place was the return on the investment, right? That not only did the schools played and the educators within those schools, but that the community played in my life and helping me be on the right track, helping me to, become educated and come back to the neighborhood and to be able to pour in those time, those resources that you all gave to me. So, so take it very seriously when we're talking about what we're doing in those schools for Fourth ISD as a whole across the district, but particularly where my heart is, where my allegiance lies with that Dunbar Pyramid and the pride I have as a Dunbar Wildcat. So when we're talking about this partnership, which you'll be able to find out much more tonight, all the intricate details about what that looks like, how we're doing what we're doing, and why we're doing what we're doing. Just understand that this really is us trying to make sure we're throwing the arsenal at turning these schools around to where we really want them and where you all as a community, we all as a community deserve them to be. And so we've been able to see phenomenal results in our Leadership Academy models. This time we're going to be able to do, we're bringing in Brother Earl Phelan, which you'll be able to meet here momentarily, to be able to roll with the model in which we're doing, really get this thing on track where we're trying to get J. Martin Jacquet Middle School to be. So you'll be able to hear all the information tonight. We will be doing question and answer so we can answer those questions that maybe you're not seeing, but hopefully we do such a good job with the presentations that I don't even have any questions. I know it all now, right? So with that being the case, thank you for taking your time out to be with us. Hopefully this is informative. And I will now kick it over to our leader, the guy steering this ship, our superintendent, Dr. Kent Scribner. Good evening, Dr. Scribner.
Thank you very much, Trustee Phillips. I appreciate the opportunity to participate in tonight's forum. I think it's an exciting moment in our history. As Trustee Phillips indicated, we have seen success in our leadership academies where we have invested additional resources, identified our high-performing employees, our highly effective teachers, and invited them to serve students who have been in schools that have not been as successful as we would have liked. It's a form of transformation, not only in terms of the academic curriculum, the staff, the instructional staff, the support staff, the extracurricular opportunities, but really the entire school community. And J. Martin Jacquet Middle School is a Fort Worth ISD school, one of our 146 campuses. It will remain a Fort Worth ISD campus and continue into the future. What's happening here is we want to expand upon the success that we've seen. For example, we have elementary schools that feed into J. Martin Jacquet Middle School that are doing a lot better than they historically had been. We have a Dunbar High School that is on the right track and a positive trajectory. What this effort is with our partnership, Fort Worth ISD partnering with the Phelan Leadership Academy and Earl Phelan, who you'll hear from in just a few moments, is we want to fortify the middle. We have a strong base at the elementary. We are graduating students from Dunbar who have seen success in college, career, and community leadership. We want to strengthen that pipeline and fortify the middle schools. It's much like the work that we did in previous months with regard to aligning our feeder patterns. We talked about creating communities within a community, and there is no stronger sense of community than Wildcat Nation and Stop 6. We want to align our feeder patterns to strengthen our ability to provide not only academic program continuity, but also build community support and school spirit, rebuild some of the history that has taken place in the pre-K through 12 pipeline there. Academics is one thing, social and emotional development is certainly another. We want to really create a very supportive pipeline for our students. And we think with the selection of Earl Phelan and the Phelan Leadership Academies and his staff, some of whom you will know and recognize as having roots in Stop 6, I think you're going to see the same kind of success that we've seen in other parts of our city and our school district. Trustee Phillips attended our schools, is a leader in our community, and will continue to be the representative of J. Martin Jacquet and the entire Dunbar school community. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Trustee Phillips, and we can move on with our presentation.
Yes, sir. Definitely appreciate you, Dr. Scribner. And so, yeah, so now what we'll get into, we'll have, so momentarily we'll have Mr. Saenz. He's going to come and really be able to give some of the nuts and bolts of the actual partnership. But it definitely is my privilege and honor to, one of the things we really want to establish tonight is to get the community to be able to know exactly who's coming in. You hear the words Phelan Leadership Academy. Well, who's the man behind that? Who's the face behind that? And that is Brother Earl Martin Phelan. And so I tell you this, his resume is extensive. He checks all the boxes with the credentials and everything. But more importantly, what I told him, even in private conversation with one another, is it's one thing to be able to check the boxes with credentials, but we need people who actually understand culture, right? That's going to really understand the culture of the community and the schools in which he's coming in and be able to help. And so far, all the conversations and being able to talk to his brother, he gets exactly that. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Brother Earl Phelan. Brother Phelan, what's up, man?
Well, thank you, Trustee Q. Just blessed to be here tonight with you. Blessed to have the opportunity, Superintendent Scribner and the entire team, to introduce, PLA. The name of my nonprofit is the George and Veronica Phelan Leadership Academies. That's my mom and dad, after whom we named the organization, but we go by Phelan Leadership Academies, or PLA. We're just privileged to be here tonight and want to have an opportunity to introduce my team, who's there in Fort Worth right now, prepared to and already beginning to serve and get ready for a really successful, please God, coming school year. I'd like to introduce my regional superintendent, regional director, Larry Davis. He's actually a graduate of Dunbar, obviously now J. Martin Jacquet, but he's a graduate of Dunbar Middle School. And then Dee Wright, who's our student enrollment coordinator. So she'll be working with our families to make sure that they have all the information that they need and all the support they need and a feedback mechanism to make sure that we're delivering on all that we have committed to do with Fort Worth ISD and with you as family and community members. I get a chance to share a little bit more about my journey in a moment, but just I've been blessed by other people who have invested in my education, who have believed in some cases where others didn't believe that I was smart, that I was capable, and that I could achieve anything that I wanted to realize. But for that support, I wouldn't be sitting here today, and Phelan Leadership Academies wouldn't exist. And we just want to make sure that we provide your scholars with that same high quality, historical, great education that all children deserve and that children can use to craft the futures of their dreams. So it's a blessing to be here today, and thank you for the opportunity to share.
Indeed, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And so I believe we're going over to you now, Mr. Saenz. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let your expertise shine through, my man. Go right ahead.
All right. All right.
Mr. Saenz, do you
Yes,
mind if
ma'am.
I have one moment?
Yes, please.
I need to correct something with our interpretation.
Yes.
I apologize, everyone. Okay. Let me get back to the presentation. I apologize again. It's all yours, Dr. Saenz.
All right. Very good. Let's go and go to the next slide. So once again, welcome everyone. I am going to go through a short presentation about the partnership and why we're engaging in this partnership. You've heard some great things already. I'm just going to hit some of those home. But most importantly, we're going to get to questions and answers. I think that's why we're here. There's a lot of questions that may be in the community, so that that's what we're here for, is to inform you, that we have all the right information, and we engage you and we enlist you in this effort. And then we'll talk about some next steps. So next slide, please. So we approached this initiative with 3 ideas in mind: improvement, innovation, and investment. We wanted to make sure that we brought the resources needed to Jacquet Middle School, who has shown a need for support over the last few years. And we wanted to do that through innovation. We wanted to make sure that we brought bold action, that we didn't just rehash some of the things we've done in the past, that we try something new, something bold to revitalize the school's academic performance and learning environment. And that's what led to this partnership. And this partnership in itself, in doing this type of action, it also brings investment. We want to provide those additional resources that Mr. Phillips has mentioned, that Dr. Scribner has mentioned, to the school to accelerate that growth and make sure that our scholars at Jacquet Middle School are receiving the best education possible on the way to Dunbar and on the way to success in college, career, and military leadership. Next slide. So what are the goals? Ultimately, we want to deliver immediate and targeted support. This is not about where we'll be 5 years from now, because we need change to happen now. We want change to happen next year, the following year, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now, 10, 15 years down the road, but it needs to start quick and it needs to start now. We feel this bold action will allow us to do that. We want to create positive outcomes for our students. We want to preserve and enhance what's working at J. Martin Jacquet Middle School. This is not about coming and turning the whole place around. This is about coming and embracing the culture that is Wildcat Nation, embracing what is happening well already at the middle school and adding and infusing with it supports, more partnerships, community effort, and also philanthropic support to make that happen. We want to address the challenges that stand in the way of student success. Entering in this partnership allows us some flexibilities granted through TEA and the state legislature to address some of those challenges. Next slide. So this is allowed because of what we call the Texas Partnership Opportunity. This was passed as Senate Bill 1882, which allows independent school districts to partner with a nonprofit, higher education, or government entity to promote innovative education and dramatically improve student outcomes. This is an approach that allows us as a school district to engage, to call in the troops, mind you, to come and support our efforts at any school that we choose. This is not open to everyone. This is a highly selective process. It has to be the right fit with the right partner at the right school during the right time. Next slide, please. So we know partnerships make our district and community stronger through some of those things that I've mentioned, improvement and innovation. Why? Because together we're stronger, right? If we have Fort Worth ISD, if we have Phelan, if we have our community partners and our parents, our students, and philanthropy, we can work side by side and leverage our expertise, leverage our talent and resources to turn around our schools that are in need of support. This also expands choice for families to make sure that we keep our families in the community. We want our families that are in our pyramid now at Dunbar Pyramid to stay through Dunbar Pyramid. We want the families that have left Dunbar Pyramid to come back to Dunbar, to Jacquet, and to the Dunbar Pyramid and finish off and graduate as Wildcats. Next slide, please. So this is one slide I wanted to highlight that really just graphically represents that partnership of us, Fort Worth ISD, our new partner, PLA, the Texas Education Agency, and philanthropic community, all working together for the family and community of Wildcat Nation and the Dunbar Pyramid. So it's not about giving it over to a partner. No, it's about bringing in all these resources to bear to accomplish the goals of our students and lead to more successful student outcomes. Through our partnership, TEA will allow us to secure more funds to make this work happen. And I'll talk about this here in the next slide. This is where the investment comes in from the Texas Education Agency and the state legislature. Because we're engaging in this bold partnership, we will have increased funding from TEA for J. Martin Jacquet. We get an extra amount of money for each student that goes directly to the school and to this work to allow the change to happen. We also have access to unique and special grant funds that only school districts that take advantage of these opportunities have access to. Right now, our teams are applying for almost $1.5 million in grants for this coming year. In addition to that, local philanthropies have already committed support, and philanthropies are local organizations, nonprofits that are committed to supporting our schools that have already committed at least $250,000 in one instance from one particular group, and others that are looking to contribute to support after school programs like the YMCA, Boys and Girls Clubs, or Clayton Yes. So all this is brought to bear because we've taken advantage of this opportunity. And this is not new for us. We want to build on the success we've already had. We've already mentioned that this is a continuation of our Leadership Academy effort. Our first Leadership Academy network was established in 2019, first of its kind, an innovative partnership with Texas Wesleyan University. Since then, we've had multiple school districts come visit us to see how we've seamlessly partnered with this entity and with Fort Worth ISD to improve student outcomes. And others have launched this same type of partnership with universities because of the work we did here. We have 4 elementary schools and 1 middle school currently in the effort. And just like I talked about before, we've leveraged their expertise and commitment of that partner, Texas Wesleyan, to design and sustain and improve student outcomes through customized solutions. One example, teacher pipeline. The Leadership Academy Network right now has been working with Texas Wesleyan to establish a teacher residency program. Basically, it is current employees that work in the schools that are not teachers, but do have a degree, that are able to get their certification and their master's degree from Texas Wesleyan to become teachers at the Leadership Academy Network next year. That's just one example of how we leverage the expertise of partners. Next slide. So what does this mean overall for the community? As you can tell, J. Martin Jacquet Middle School, and as Dr. Scribner has said, will remain a Fort Worth ISD neighborhood school. It will remain committed to the ideals of the school's namesake, James Martin Jacquet, who we know served 37 years as an educator within Fort Worth ISD and was known for his high academic standards and deep commitment to student achievement. Ultimately, our students in the Dunbar Pyramid are going to be at Jacquet Middle School. And we want all our students to come back. This is a neighborhood school. This is one of our shining jewels, and it will stay that way.
Dr. Saenz, if I may,
Sure.
I just want to add that this partnership is only fitting and continuing the legacy that you just shared. I don't know if people realize, but Mr. Jacquet, J. Martin Jacquet, he actually began his education career as a math teacher in a subject where many kids felt that they didn't have the capacity, that's always a subject that they're afraid to try. And I heard Mr. Phelan speak about how someone invested in him and encouraged him and built his own experiences and wanting to be capable. So that was the legacy that J. Martin Jacquet instilled in students as a teacher. But not only was he a math teacher, he also was an assistant principal at the legendary I.M. Terrell High School, where he served alongside another legend, Miss Hazel Harvey Peace, who at the time was Dean of Girls at I.M. Terrell High School. And he became invested and embedded in the Dunbar, or Stop Six community, when he became the principal of Dunbar High School in 1957. Where he served as principal for over 17 years until he retired. So I'm excited about this partnership. I think it pays tribute to a legendary and a historical figure in the Stop Six community. And I look forward to the excellence that we're going to instill in our students. So I just couldn't help but share that. So thank you for giving me a moment.
No, definitely. Thank you, Dr. Washington. And next slide, I think from this, I'm going to go ahead and kick it back to Jennifer.
Yeah, so I think LaTanya is going to start out with the first question, but this is a lot of great information for the community. So let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into the Q&A. Mr. Phelan, I have a question for you. Can you give our viewers a little bit more information about who you are, your background, and what success you've had with other school partnerships?
Sure. Not to go too far back, but my mom had me at age 16 and decided that she wasn't able to raise me. And so I went into Massachusetts foster care. I sit up here in Boston right now. There was an article on the front page of the Boston Globe that said 70% of Black boys would end up in prison or in Massachusetts foster care would end up in prison by the time that they were 21 years old. And because of my parents, who after having 7 naturally born of my mom and dad decided they could raise another, because of the school, I went to a public school here outside of Boston. Because of my mentors and coaches and others, I've been blessed to graduate from Yale University, Harvard Law School, and find my purpose in life, which is making sure all children have the opportunities that I've had to sometimes beat the odds and sometimes just realize who they truly innately are. And so that's what led to the founding of Phelan Leadership Academies. We're a nonprofit, as I shared. We've been around for 8 years now. We've been blessed to already turn 9 schools from F-rated and D-rated schools into A-rated and B-rated schools. But it's more than that. It's more than just that. It's really trying to live into and lean into, you can use education to create your future, but you can only do that if you're proficient. And if you're mastering the 3 R's of reading, writing, arithmetic, but also if you have critical thinking skills, so you can take in all the information that comes at all of us and really critically analyze it. You can only do that if you really have a strong sense of self-esteem and belief in who you can become. And so that's why we created Phelan Leadership Academies. And as I shared, we've been blessed to serve in many communities. We have schools started in Indianapolis and Indiana, and have schools down in Beaumont, Texas. And we just want to make sure our scholars, A, have the academic program that they deserve, B, have the climate and culture that they deserve. If you walk through one of our schools, you'd see our schools are safe, they're nurturing, they're loving, there's a lot of joy, and because we want to build leaders, because that's what our community needs, and that's what we as a nation need. And then you'd see high aspirations for what our children's futures can be. So that's a little bit about myself and a little bit about Phelan Leadership Academies.
Great. And while I still have you, we have a question from the chat, and our Wildcat Nation loves to know what kind of funds and community support we have for our students. Do you have access to the American Rescue Funds that's been allocated to schools to assist with the pandemic?
Yes, we have access to a range of funds.
Okay.
The obviously the district will get the ESSER 1. Well, ESSER 1 has already come out, but ESSER 2 and 3 funds, which are significant. I don't know that the TEA has yet spoken to what those will be for each respective district, but that's one part. Two is we've already started to work to raise money philanthropically to support kind of the additional programming and any resources that Jacquet Middle School will need to help scholars succeed. And there's been a blessing, obviously, in some respects, in this terrible time with technology that oftentimes wasn't available in school. Now it's coming into school. So that foundation exists in many of our partner schools. But you also want to have additional programming. You want to have tutoring to help scholars make up for some of the learning impacts that's happened during COVID, or just because our scholars may not be where we want them to be. You want to have social emotional learning programs to make sure our scholars understand who they are and their greatness and who they can become. You want to have summer learning programs, because we all know that there's 100 years of evidence that our children generally lose 2 months during the summer because they're not quite as engaged as we want them to be. You want to have additional resources for professional development for staff. You want to be able to compensate staff at the level that they deserve. And so those are some of the resources that we're raising philanthropic additional dollars to make sure, and in complement to the ESSER and complement to 1882 funding, that there's a philanthropic opportunity, and we've already had some success, and we look forward to continuing to drive hard so our scholars have everything they need to be successful.
Thank you very much. And I'm glad you mentioned the social emotional support, because that was a question that was also in the chat. So thank you for addressing that as well.
LaTanya,
Yes, sir.
and Earl, if I might add, I think this is a great question because it offers a proof point whereby J. Martin Jacquet Middle School is one of our 146 schools and will remain so. So the ESSER funds, the federal rescue funds that are coming to the district, once it is determined by TEA what allocation we will get, will be distributed fairly, and J. Martin Jacquet will be one of the recipients.
Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Townsend, this one's for you. What does this mean for our current employees at Jacquet? We're talking about extra supports for students, and yes, that's where we want to keep our focus. But what about our teachers? Are we talking about stipends? Are we talking about, Mr. Phelan mentioned extra professional development? Can you expand on a little bit of that?
So if I'm hearing the question correctly, you asked me about stipends and what does this mean for our current employees?
Yes, sir.
Well, right now, every employee at Jacquet will be an employee of Fort Worth ISD if they choose so. But as far as stipends, that hasn't been decided just yet. I know some of the teachers have seen what has happened with the other leadership academies, but those talks about incentives are still in discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Saenz, you gave some examples in your presentation about the investments from TEA and the philanthropic funds and local partners for student success. Can you expand a little bit on that, about what that looks like and what additionally that will mean for Jacquet Middle School?
Yes, for the types of services that can be provided?
Yes.
No, certainly, and thank you for that question. No, some of the examples that we see now are an extended school day, after school day at our current leadership academies, where our students are not only getting academic enrichment, but also enrichment that allows them to find themselves and what they may want to do in the future. That is actually followed up by another investment from us as a district, in which we do provide a dinner type snack for our students, so that they can and leave home go to home with a full stomach. Along that time, that also is investments into teacher training. So some of the funds that Mr. Phelan has already mentioned and Dr. Scribner have mentioned go directly to students. Some of them go to teachers so they can serve students. And so that can be specific training in reading and math, or just overall. I saw the question about mental health, how we as teachers and adults in the building, all of the adults can be that mentor for the students as we come back from this pandemic in person. And so those are just some examples that we see now coming to bear with our current partnerships, and that I know we will want to replicate with this partnership.
Great, great. And, Dr. Saenz also, and this might be also for Mr. Phelan, will Phelan have positions solely dedicated to support student mental health and wellness?
We'll either have staff dedicated to it or partners who are experienced in supporting mental health of scholars and any other individuals who need it. We definitely will have one of those. Yes.
Okay,
Well, Dr. Washington, this one's coming your way. There were some questions in the community about loss of extracurriculars for students. Is that true?
Sure, thanks for that question. We know that Wildcat Nation has had a long tradition of excellence in their academic students, but we also know that the pride in athletics is instilled in the community. And so, as been said many times before in our presentation, Jacquet Middle School will remain a traditional school. It is a school within Fort Worth ISD. It is one of our 146 schools, and it will have all of the fine arts programs, athletic programs that all of our traditional middle schools will have. So rest assured, we will continue to serve and support the community and build that pipeline of excellence to Dunbar High School.
I know that'll keep families and students happy for sure. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And Dr. Scribner, some in the community are concerned that Dunbar High School will be the next leadership academy. Can you address that for us?
Well, actually, Dunbar High School already has a worthy and honorable partner in Texas Wesleyan University. It is one of our early college high schools. So this will be a unique school community where a preschooler could, for example, begin at Logan, Leadership Academy at Logan, and continue pre-K through 5th grade there, do his or her middle years at Martin Jacquet Middle School, the Phelan Leadership Academy, and then continue on to the early college high school partnership between Dunbar High School and Texas Wesleyan. So really, we are trying to build a rigorous, supportive, and engaged pipeline from birth from cradle to career, from birth through college, and we think by creating the opportunities of Leadership Academy at the middle school, it will complete that pipeline.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Saenz, it sounds like there will be significant financial supports. How can parents and the community get involved moving forward?
Yeah, and I would say continue to engage, continue to have questions. And I would say one of the most exciting things that I'll let actually Mr. Fain add to this after I finish is that we are working together to build a local steering committee that will be based here in Fort Worth in that Dunbar pyramid to support the efforts at that school. So I know one right now, we are looking for folks that may join that committee. But of course, engaging in the school, engaging in the activities, coming to the Wildcat Nation football games, whether it's at middle school or at high school, those type of engagement opportunities mean a lot. And I know that as a pyramid and as a district, we're also committed to the education, not only of our kids, but of our families. So engage with us in those, take advantage of our Family Action Center that lives in the Dunbar pyramid as well. We have one of the elementary schools. So there's many opportunities to get involved now. And I'll let Mr. Phelan expound on how, as a partner, they will also engage with our families.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, David. I mean, as you shared, please, 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 if you want to serve on the advisory board, please join that. We're going to create a parent action committee as well. So please serve on that to give us feedback. We'll have monthly engagement opportunities where you can come and share how things are going. Muffins with Mom, All Pro Dads, that's another opportunity. Please volunteer within the school for some of our activities, and that will be another opportunity. And we'll be issuing a survey pretty soon, so that it's called a Your Voice Matters survey, which is just gives you a chance to say what's going incredibly well at the school, and PLA, please preserve that. And what are some areas that you want to see get stronger? And we'll take that as we build a plan to partner with the district and obviously with the school.
And Ms. Bettis, if I could add to on that is, as we've mentioned, this idea of partnership, that is not just between the folks that you can see on the screen. It's between all of us. The success of our children depends on our work together. The folks that are listening on, the folks that are watching this recorded, is asking the same question: how can we engage together? How can we engage in this partnership to ensure that it's successful? So we're not just looking to one person to get it done, that we together are moving together in the right direction for our kids.
Great.
Love that. Thank you.
And I have one, maybe two, just really quick question. Will there be an extended school day? Will the calendar look any different?
So the team right now, Mr. Davis, Ms. Wright, and the rest of my team right now are doing an assessment. And so we can't speak to that yet. We need to get input from, as I said, from parents, from community stakeholders, from scholars, and then we'll make a determination. There will definitely be an extended school year in the sense that we have a partnership with one of the country's top summer learning programs called Summer Advantage. It won't be run this summer because we're focused on obviously successful launch next August, but it will be an all future summers. So there will be extended learning opportunities through that piece. And then we have another program called Reading Advantage, and whether that happens during the day or whether that happens after school will determine based on the feedback that we're going to get next week when we do our kind of comprehensive educational analysis.
Okay. And Mr. Phelan, will any of that extended learning happen prior to 2021-2022 school year? Will any of that take place this summer?
It will not take place this summer, but it will be taking place the following summer and future summers.
Let me add that the official partnership, obviously we're here now, the official partnership starts July 1st, right? So they have to lean in to getting the school started. What we're doing on our end that will support this effort is, once again, speaking about grant funds that we do have, we have a grant called the Transformation Zone Grant that will allow us to create a summer learning program at Jacquet for this purpose. We want our 5th graders coming up to be ready for 6th grade, our 6th graders for 7th, and our 7th for 8th, and our 8th graders, if you're listening, to join the early college program over at Dunbar High School. We have seats for you, come and join it. But as a district, we will be supporting the effort for summer learning as well at Jacquet Middle School this year.
Okay, great. Thank you all. Thank you all. And before I'll give an opportunity for all the panelists to have any closing remarks, we did get someone that says, "Great job, team." So that's positive. That's excellent. Would any of you like to make any closing remarks before we end tonight's meeting?
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know if there's others. I can wind us up here at the end, but I would love to hear a few things. So,
Yeah,
Dr. Scribner, like you getting ready to get it.
Yeah, no, why don't you go ahead and close it at the end, Q, and Latanya or Jennifer, if you can kind of call roll, and we'll just go based on your direction.
Okay. All right.
All right, I'll go.
Go.
Let's see, Dr. Washington, start us off.
Sure, I'd love to. I think this is an excellent opportunity when we talk about creating a true pipeline to be able to provide the stability and the supports that are already at one of our feeder elementary schools, and those students will be able to engage in the Leadership Academy with Phelan and provide that foundation, and that will just strengthen our pipeline from elementary all the way through Dunbar. So I'm excited about the work and the supports that we're able to put in place for our children, and I look forward to the change of academic progress in this that this will provide for our community.
Thank you, Dr. Washington. I was gonna say, Jennifer, if we could, as we're doing this, if we can have Brother Phelan introduce Larry Davis and D. Wright, and then they can have a few words before we continue to go around.
Well, thank you, Q. Am I supposed to call you Trustee Q, Trustee Phillips?
Man, Q is fine, believe me. You'll figure it out real quick. Q is just fine.
I'll call you Q. Larry, are you able to come off mute and just introduce yourself, and then D as well? And so Larry, Mr. Davis is our regional director in Fort Worth, and as I mentioned, went to Dunbar Middle School when it was named such. And then D. Wright is our student enrollment coordinator, who works in partnership with our parents and with our families to make sure their experience is strong. But Larry, you want to go first?
Sure. Thank you very much. I am very familiar with Dr. Washington. She and I have been on a couple of things together. In fact, I had the honor speaking at her Fort Worth Area Association Black School Educators as a keynote speaker, I think in 2018. So I appreciate that. Like Mr. Phelan said, I went to Dunbar Middle School that was over on Willie Street.
Yeah.
So, and my grandmother's church is still right across from there. So know the community well, know the community very well. Grew up on Style Cup, lived on Bell Drive. So I know the Stop 6 area. Unfortunately, I went to high school at Eastern Hills. So Q, don't hold that against me. We're just 3 miles up, but we're right there.
Hey, I love all Fort Worth ISD schools now.
It's been a career-long dream for me to work with Fort Worth ISD. I take so much pride in that district because I'm a product of the district. And so given this opportunity to work with you guys, look, I will do everything I can for our children. I am looking forward to working with you, but working for our children.
Good evening, everyone. I am D. Wright. I will be your student enrollment coordinator. I'm looking forward to working with the parents and the scholars with your experience in enrollment and re-enrollment. So please, if you have any questions, I will be a contact for you to reach out. Just remember, I'm here to support you and your family, and I'm very excited to get started.
All right, Mr. Townsend.
Yeah, I'm just really excited about Phelan Academy coming in and giving the resources that the kids and the teachers at Jacquet need. I've been a part of this pyramid for a long time. It hasn't been consistent, so I've had them off and on, but I've seen Dunbar Middle School achieve at high success. So there's no doubt in my mind that Jacquet will reach all of the goals that we set forth for them. But I'm also excited about our pre-K enrollment that we have right now, and looking, in 6 years that those pre-K kids will be at Jacquet, and then they will go to Dunbar. So my goal for our pyramid is to increase the enrollment of our elementary schools all the way to Jacquet, and then which will in turn increase the enrollment at Dunbar High School. So I'm just excited about it, all the things that are happening in our pyramid. So thank you, Mr. Phelan. And even though I still am going to be a part of Jacquet, so they are still a part of the Dunbar pyramid. They will still be a part of our pyramid meetings, and anything you need from me, I am here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, let's see. Dr. Scribner, you ready?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I also am very excited. I look forward to spending time with Earl and his team, and really was compelled by this slide that talked about improvement, innovation, and investment. While Jacquet is heading in the right direction, certainly not at the trajectory we want it to be, we see that this is a continuous improvement effort. Innovation, revitalizing not only academic performance, but the learning environment and school culture. I can tell that Family Leadership Academies believe strongly in a positive school culture, not only for students, but for adults. And then investment, to the earlier question. This Jacquet Middle School will not only receive a district investment, but also local investment, our foundations, our philanthropic community, and federal dollars. So really it's an opportunity for us to, from a school performance framework, equity lens, provide additional resources to those students who have historically not achieved at the levels that we hope for them. And we understand that the problem is not the students. This is an adult investment and attention and talent and desire, and we have the desire, and I think this group certainly can lead the talent in the right direction. So I'm very excited about this new chapter for J. Martin McKay Middle School, Jacquet Middle School.
Thank you. And I do want to mention, Ms. Wright, that LaTanya and I will probably be working with you very closely. We're taking the bookmobile out to support our pre-K and kindergarten efforts right now. So we'll be at the Family Action Center this Friday. Next week, we're hitting up Logan on Thursday. So we're out there, you know, knocking on doors and getting people to come register. David, Dr. Saenz, apologies. Let me pull up your slide. And I think after that, you can toss it over to Trustee Phillips.
Definitely.
And Jennifer, while you're pulling up that slide, we do have a special welcome in our chat. It says, welcome PLA to the Stop 6 family. Looking forward to excellent outcomes for the students of Jacquet. That's wonderful.
That's great.
Very good, very good. Well, you know, I'm just excited for this work and to make sure that we get going and get started talking about that quick action and bold action. But we know if you have questions, if you're listening on and have questions or concerns you would like to discuss, here's my email address. It's david.saenz@fortworthisd.org, fwisd.org. Or you can also call 817-814-1511. I also want to be sure that you all know that our team here in Fort Worth ISD, here in the Office of Innovation, we are available for individual presentations to parent groups, faith leaders, community organizations, anyone else that wants to hear not, you know, how this partnership works, but most importantly, how we are going to engage in the partnership to make it work. And so I want to encourage everyone that's listening to ask questions, to get involved, so we can make this happen and make it happen in a quick and efficient manner for our students. Mr. Phillips, Trustee Phillips.
Indeed, appreciate you, man, appreciate you. And so, well, Earl, man, you know, before I wrap here, I'm going to give you, you know, a final opportunity to, you know, be able to, you know, say any closing remarks you may have, man, then we'll get ready to close out.
Yeah, just want to let you know we're just humbled to be a partner. We know we have a lot to learn. We know we have a successful model, but every community is unique. Every school's needs are unique. We believe fully in the development of the whole child. So arts, culture, athletics. I'm actually the coach of our high school on the Far East Side in Indianapolis. You probably don't want to come see me coach because I'm a little bit intense sometimes, but I have a lot of fun with my boys. But we believe in all of those elements coming together. Exposure experiences. Last summer we had speakers. It was right after George Floyd's murder, so we brought in a lot of Black male speakers, and we had the first surgeon to separate co-joined twins in Haiti come and speak to our scholars. We had the U.S. District Attorney. We had an Obama-appointed federal judge. We had actor from Greenleaf. We had several entrepreneurs, Black female entrepreneurs who were running their businesses and handling their business. And so we just tried to make sure that our scholars understand how incredible they are, what's possible for them through hard work and discipline and effort and support. And we're blessed and humbled to be a partner and look forward to working with you on behalf of the success of the scholars at Jacquet.
Indeed, appreciate that, man. And so, so I'm really quick as I get ready to close out here. The question was asked to Mr. Townsend a little bit about the staff thing. I want to make sure we don't gloss over that we actually get to hit that with as much clarity as we can provide now. So all that being said is that, you're meeting the team now, you're meeting Brother Phelan, you're bringing in Brother Davis, Sister Wright, their team has to come in, and get the ball rolling and everything as far as what staffing and everything is going to look like. So there's logistical things to still be worked through there. But understand this, there's phenomenal people working in the building right now, phenomenal people that are invested in Jacquet Middle School, and trusted that goes very noticed when it comes to all of us, the hard work and the dedication, and particularly those who want to be there, right? That they feel that investment, this is their schools and everything. So like I said, their team will come in partnership and everything, and put the right nuts and bolts in place, but just truly want, I want Fort Worth ISD staff that are there now to know that you're seen, that you're appreciated. We know the expertise that you offer, and for those who want to remain in this community, we absolutely be taking that to heart. So just want to make sure that's fully addressed. But if you're a Fort Worth ISD employee now there, your job is not in jeopardy. You're going to be a Fort Worth ISD employee as we're making these transitions. And so, Brother Davis, I see your hand up if you want to say something quickly. Oh, okay. You was high-fiving me, telling me good job. All right, I appreciate that. So definitely. So I just wanted to, make sure that was out there. So as far as the closing remarks, I tell you this, I'm very proud of what we're doing in our pyramid. I'm very proud of Brother Townsend and the direction he's taking things, Dr. Washington and all the work that she's been doing when it comes to the South 6 area and the Dunbar pyramid. We got some really phenomenal folks that are doing a great job. And Dr. Scribner hit it very well. He always does, but he hit it well again tonight when we start talking about the differences between the students and the adults. And again, what we try to emphasize here, the students are not the problem. The students are Larry Davis. The students are Q Phillips. This is who we from those areas. We were in those schools. We were in those halls. And now we get to be here, lending our talents, lending our time to trying to make sure we're providing the best quality education now. So there's no reason that every young person walking in those halls, walking those streets of Top 6 can't turn into Q Phillips, Larry Davis, and beyond, above and beyond what we are or could even imagine to be, right? So that's what we're fighting for. That's what we're striving for. We want the consistency to be in that building. We want, Dunbar Pyramid to be able to take pride in, I remember when that school was F, look, now it's a B, now it's an A. We want that. We know the pride of Wildcat Nation. We know what it means to be a Dunbar Wildcat. All the way down from the elementary in the pyramids all the way up to the flying Wildcats, right? So just understand that everyone's taking it seriously. Everyone understands the magnitude of what it takes to educate our young people, know that what we deserve over in our neighborhood and in our schools, and that's exactly what we're fighting to be able to bring. So if there's any further questions that you have, Dr. Saenz mentioned a moment ago about reaching out, let us know. We want to be able to answer those questions. If people come with some misinformation, this is recorded, send them back to this so I can actually know what the real answers are. But at the end of the day, it really is about the students in our pyramid. And, just my word, I statement as a trustee, if I see that it is not about the students for anyone, that's a person I no longer want around our students, right? But the people on this call, the people that the superintendent is employing and is dedicating to these efforts, we see that these people care about our young people and want the very best for them. So that's what we're trying to do, y'all. So here's the real information. Continue to ask the questions that we didn't get something tonight, but I think we hit it pretty well. Thank you for being with us. giving us this opportunity to chop it up with you and let you know what's happening. We're going to welcome Brother Phelan. We're going to welcome Brother Davis, Sister Wright to our community. They're going to get ingratiated to us real good. They're going to love on us. We're going to love on them. And ultimately, we all going to win because our students are going to win. They're brilliant, they're talented, and it's up to us adults to get it right, to make sure their brilliance and their talent shines. So with that being the case, if there's anything else we need to do, Jennifer, Latanya, anything else we need to hit before we wrap? I got a thumbs up.
Just a reminder that, you know, yes, what you said, this is recorded. It will be online in many more places tomorrow. So if you have some friends who weren't able to attend, please share it, get the word out. And we appreciate you joining us. We appreciate the information. Everyone have a safe and good night.
Good evening, everyone. All right,
Good night,
Wildcats.
everyone.